Good morning or afternoon or wherever you are. I'm Ron Brown. I'll be your host today. This is Tech for Senior. It is our 148th, oh boy, 148th episode. It is, of course, January 30th, soon to be February. So welcome, everyone. If you're here in the audience, thank you for coming. If you're over on YouTube, thanks for coming as well. If you're watching this as a YouTube short, we'll just click the link and it'll take you right to the show. We'll be with you for the next hour, and then of course we'll have our Q&A followed by our premier service I'll discuss in a moment. But this is we have an action-packed show for you today. Lots of really interesting stuff. Bob, of course, is back from his Hawaiian vacation and will be doing his security update for us. He's also going to talk about Windows 11 and the tabbed Notepad. I'm going to talk about alternatives to your credit card. And then Hewie's going to talk about website of the week. Bob's then going to talk about talking to the IRS because tax season is coming up and he wants you to be safe. I'm now going into a bit of a literary stuff, and I've written a poem about Tech for Senior, and I want to share my poem with everybody. And then, of course, Ray will have his music outro. We'll then move on, and we will have our premiere event at 1:30. Now, those of you who subscribe to our Saturday newsletter, which lists all the events and the agenda for this meeting, will note that our premiere version this week will be I'll be talking on using your smartphone as a webcam. And I've talked about this before. You want to make darn sure you don't give away your smartphone because it's a great webcam. And I'll tell you all about how to set it up and use it as a webcam instead of if you need an extra one. Ray's going to talk about Windows 10 tips, and Bob's going to talk about how to stop those annoying spam text messages. So that will all be on our premiere video that will be shown at 1:30, and I'll be putting the link in the show notes. And also those of you who, of course, subscribe to the newsletter, and again, you should, if you haven't, our Saturday newsletter. My favorite YouTube channel that we feature different channels was an interesting one. It was called The Fabulously Frugal, and I've been watching her for many years now. I love my air fryer, and I use it all the time. And this is a girl who has a family of 8 kids. 8 kids, my gosh. And she loves her air fryer, and her channel is called The Fabulously Frugal, and she does weekly air fryer tips. She's written a number of books. She has a huge channel. Her recipes are great, and she does a lot of them just for 2. So it's great for seniors because there's just Gail and I for cooking. And so pop it in the air fryer and we have dinner for 2. And that was on our Saturday newsletter. Each week I put out a channel that's of interest that I think you might be interested in. And I put on there not only how you find the channel, but also one of my favorite videos that they make. So this week was on cooking. Another change that I've made on our Tuesday newsletter, and by the way, if you sign up for our newsletter, you get both. You get 2 for 1, and it's all free. So on our Tuesday newsletter, I'm putting the agenda for our Thursday show, what we're going to talk about. So if you have some interest in that, you may want to watch our Thursday show, which of course is not a Zoom meeting. I know you're all thinking, where the heck do I find this? But it's not a Zoom meeting. We broadcast that out on StreamYard, and it goes out to our Facebook page and our and YouTube. So again, we have the usual gang that all come on Thursday. We have a great talk, and we actually talk about news of the week, all the stuff that's happened in the prior week. And we have all our newspaper reports or news issues that we want to talk about are posted to our Facebook page. And so we have a great time doing that and a lot of fun. And that is every Thursday and you'll find the links on our webpage if you'd like to join. Again, it's free, there's no charge, and come and have some fun. And we also podcast that out, and the podcast is up on Friday. Hewie and I had a great learning Chromebooks last Thursday, right, Hewie?
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. And I talked about the Flex and how to use it. And you say it's useless. And I think it's a pretty good thing for some people. So.
All right. Well, we actually got some comments back on that already. I don't know if you saw the Andrew commented on the YouTube channel a couple about that. So there's some interesting stuff there. You might want to have a look at that. We do that, of course, once a month. It's free. And if you want to register for the Learning Chromebook series, just go to our webpage and you can certainly register for that. I want to thank everyone for our funding drive. This is our funding drive was in January. This is, of course, the last time I'll be mentioning our funding, and I might sort of sneak it in a little bit through the year, but by and large, we have met our goals mostly. I expect that there will be continued funding coming in, so we will be able to pay the bills. I want to thank everybody. Particularly, I want to thank the following people who donated last week: Charles Hartchin, Marshall Dubois, Nan Place, Susan Schmidt, and there was another Susan. I'm not sure if that was the same Susan Schmidt or if there was a different Susan in there. So I want to thank everybody who participated and helped us pay the bills. I will put the link in the chat for our coffee fund if you today want to donate. We're happy to do that for you, and that really it's great. We've done this now for, I guess this will be our 4th year coming up, and everyone's great. Now we don't have to mention it for the rest of the year. We can just have fun, and we don't have to talk about money, which I think is a great thing to do. Hewie, are you all ready for next week? Hewie is going to be taking the reins of the show next Monday. I'll be here, of course, but I'm going to be sitting in the background, letting Hewie do his thing. I know I have complete confidence in them. Hewie, of course, has done this a lot. He's probably done more shows than I have. So I know you'll give him lots of support. I'll be doing this. I'll be with him for the next 3 or 4 times, but I do want to take some time off this summer in July, and he's going to be doing the show then. So this is a bit of training, but he doesn't need any training because he's a real smart guy. Are you ready?
I hope I feel better by then too. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a cold. Yeah. You got
yeah. I open the window and influenza.
And then, of course, Bob, you're back. You're producing videos like crazy. You're back at home, but you never really stopped on the ship. Nope. You just kept going.
Nope. I was simply amazed because, as I mentioned, internet access aboard ship, it was a challenge. But I had no problems joining Zoom, and I had no problems producing videos. Uploading them was a different story.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting when they get Starlink. Eh? You said the ship's signing up for Starlink?
Yes, they have already made a deal with Starlink. So the next time I'm on that cruise line, the internet should be a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Amazing. And then, Bill, what's new with you? You got any travel plans? Are you just hanging in there, or what's happening with?
Oh, I have no travel plans. I'm just hanging in there for now.
Okay. All right.
Wait till it gets warmer.
Ray, are you still shoveling snow?
You know, our snow pattern this year has been quite different than in the past. In the past, we may get 2 or maybe 3 big storms by big 6 to 10 or 12 inches at a time. This year, every other day or every 3rd day, we get just a little bit of cover. So no shoveling, but it's not been warm. Normally the days are in the 50s. Here they've been much cooler, so I have a lot of ice. So, but looking forward to the spring.
There you go. And Mike, of course, is sitting there smiling as he's in Florida, capturing the rays of the sun and making money. Ray, of course, Mike will be talking this month, or in February, I think it's February 20th, we'll be talking about the next version of our EV car series. And I'm looking forward to that, Mike.
We'll be focusing the second part on EV batteries, alternatives to lithium-ion batteries.
That'll be great. We look forward to that. So just to let everyone know, Hewie will be next week, and the following week after that will be the whole show will be dedicated to password managers and what options you have and which ones you should use. And then following that will be Mike's, the next week will be Mike's EV talk. So we have a busy February for you. And then I guess, what is it? March, Hewie, we go into season 4, right?
Yep.
Season 4, 4 years. Okay.
Yeah. The first March we thought about it.
Yeah.
It'll last a couple of months at the most. And then we'll see what we'll do. And here we are.
Right. And that's part of why Hewie's we decided to alternate the hosting, because we do have to take some time off and maybe do a little bit of traveling and so on and so forth. So we want to keep the show going and continue with the weekly show. Bob, are you ready to roll?
I believe I should be ready to roll.
You haven't forgotten how to do this, have you?
I hope not. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending January 27th, 2023. LastPass parent company GoTo suffers data breach. Customers' backups compromised. LastPass owner GoTo, formerly known as LogMeIn, on Tuesday disclosed that unidentified threat actors were able to steal encrypted backups of some customers' data, along with an encryption key for some of those backups in a November 2022 incident. The breach, which targeted a third-party cloud storage service, impacted Central, Pro, JoinMe, Hamachi, and Remotely Anywhere products, the company said. Read more at the Hacker News. U.S. federal agencies fall victim to cyber attack utilizing legitimate RMM software. At least 2 federal agencies in the U.S. fell victim to a widespread cyber campaign that involved the use of legitimate remote monitoring and management software to perpetuate a phishing scam. Specifically, cyber criminal actors sent phishing emails that led to the download of legitimate RMM software, Screen Connect, now ConnectWise Control, and AnyDesk, which the actor used in a refund scam to steal money from victim bank accounts, U.S. cybersecurity authorities said. The joint advisory comes from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, National Security Agency, and Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center. The attacks, which took place in mid-June and mid-September 2022, have financial motivations, although the threat actors could weaponize the unauthorized access for conducting a wide range of activities, including selling that access to other hacking crews. Read more at the Hacker News. Microsoft Silent Update checks your Windows PC for old versions of Office. Microsoft is running an update on Windows PCs that will silently check for old copies of Office. As the Register reports, details of the update were revealed on the Microsoft support website earlier this month. Update KB 5021751 opens in a new window, is described as intended to help Microsoft identify the number of users running out of support or soon to be out of support versions of Office, including Office 2013, Office 2010, and Office 2007. No details is given as to why Microsoft decided to perform this check. Read more at PC Mag. Google is screwed even if it wins its antitrust case. In 1982, the Department of Justice wrapped up a 13-year antitrust case against IBM. The DOJ lost, but so did IBM. The tech landscape changed, and IBM was distracted and had to move slowly under the increased scrutiny. Microsoft and Apple swooped in and knocked IBM off its perch. 20 years later, the same thing happened to Microsoft. The DOJ launched an antitrust investigation, and ultimately, Microsoft wasn't broken up, but Apple, Google, and social media companies like Facebook left Microsoft in the dust. Now it seems like it's Google's turn. See Gizmodo for more. DARPA wants AR goggles to help soldiers with complex tasks. DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, is developing a new system to help military personnel perform complex tasks. Perceptually enabled task guidance technology uses sensors to see and hear what the user sees and hears, guiding them through AI-produced instructions displayed in augmented reality. PTG combines sensors, a microphone and head-mounted camera, with AI and AR headsets to integrate into the user's environment. The idea is to help soldiers and other military personnel enhance their skills, complete complicated tasks, and perform them better. See Engadget for more. Google takes down 50,000 instances of pro-Chinese Dragon Bridge influence operation. Google on Thursday disclosed it took steps to dismantle over 50,000 instances of activity orchestrated by a pro-Chinese influence operation known as Dragon Bridge in 2022. Most Dragon Bridge activity is low-quality content without a political message, populated across many channels and blogs, the company's threat analysis group said in a report shared with the Hacker News. However, a small fraction of Dragon Bridge accounts also post about current events with messaging that pushes pro-China talking points. See the Hacker News for more. Windows 11 22H2 is ready for everyone now. Microsoft released Windows 11 22H2 in September of 2022, marking the first major update to Windows 11 since its arrival the year prior. 4 months later, Microsoft thinks it has worked out all the major bugs. Microsoft has started automatically rolling out Windows 11 22H2 to computers running 21H2. Which was previously only available as a manual update. The company said in its health dashboard, since Windows 10, we have been helping Windows users stay up to date and secure with supported versions of Windows through automatic updates. We are utilizing the same approach for Windows 11 to help you stay protected and productive. Some people have reported seeing the update notifications on Windows 10 too. To learn more, see How to Geek. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. Read Avast's article on Small but Dangerous, What Are the Risks of Malicious USBs? Read the article on the Avast blog, or you may enjoy my video on this topic. Just follow my YouTube link listed. Did you know a Google spin-off is using AI to try to create brand new smells? Before Nokia sold mobile phones, they manufactured a range of other items, such as toilet paper, tires, and computers. Spam email was named after the canned meat. In a Monty Python skit, they said spam meat was horrible and being ubiquitous and inescapable. Just like spam emails. Just thought you wanted to know. And that wraps up this week's edition of the Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Notepad, the old way and the new way. In the old way, when you opened Notepad, you had to open up a separate notepad for each item. Microsoft is changing that and making it a lot easier. Let me show you what you'll soon have available to you for Notepad. As I said, this is the old way. Each notepad is a separate notepad opened in its own window. The new way works differently. I have several items that I have pinned to the taskbar in Notepad. In the old version, each time I selected one, it would open a new window. Now, with the new tabbed Notepad, when I open one, it opens Notepad. If I go down now and select the next one, it opens it up, as you can see, in a separate tab. Let me do the third one and a fourth one. As you can see, I now have 4 separate tabs available, and I can switch from one to the other. I don't have to open up separate windows, and I can access and interact right from one window, and I have all of them open to me. Great idea. That will be coming to all versions of Windows 11 soon. Until then, envy those of us that are doing the beta testing of the new things as they get ready to be released. Stay safe, stay secure. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. So that'll come in with an update to Windows then. It'll be updated when Windows is updated.
That's correct.
Okay. That's great. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. All right. So today we're going to talk a little bit. I wanted to talk a little bit of alternatives to credit cards. This is a passion that I've talked a lot about this when I was in Mesa. So anyway, let's see what we have here. Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, safe alternatives to a credit card. Let's see what this is all about. There are 5 potential issues seniors may face while using credit cards. The first is scams and fraud. Seniors may be more susceptible to scams and fraud, particularly if they are not familiar with technology or the internet. The second is difficulty managing finances. Some seniors may have difficulty managing their finances, which could lead to overspending and falling into debt. The third reason is higher risk of identity theft. Seniors may be at a higher risk of identity theft due to their personal information being more easily accessible. And the fourth reason is limited income. Some seniors may have limited income, which could make it difficult for them to make repayment to credit cards. And the fifth and last is difficulty understanding credit card terms and conditions. Seniors may have more difficulty understanding the terms and conditions of credit cards, which could lead to confusion and mistakes. To help protect older adults in these issues, it is recommended that they keep their personal information safe, monitor their credit reports on a regular basis, and be cautious of unsolicited offers for requests of personal information. It is also important for older adults to have a clear understanding of credit card terms and conditions before applying and using a credit card. Because we live in a cashless society, seniors often resort to debit cards. This can lead to disastrous consequences with fraud and theft. Let me explain the difference between a debit card and a credit card. Because we really live in a cashless society, the banks have created what we call a debit card. This allows you access to your own money in the bank. You can get it through an electronic transaction. Therefore, it is your money you're using at the grocery store. So if Mr. Smith goes to the grocery store, he puts his debit card down and buys $200 worth of groceries. The amount in his bank now is $0. If he goes to buy $250 worth of groceries, he can't do that because he doesn't have $250 in his account. So it is a cash transaction that occurs from your bank to the grocery store, but it's cashless. And because of this, there is no fee to debit cards, there is no contract you sign with the bank, and the debit cards are available to anyone, even if they have a horrible credit history and a very poor financial situation. Anyone can get a debit card because it simply offers you access to the money that you have in your existing account. Now we'll talk about credit cards in a moment, but we should now discuss the appropriate use of a debit card because this is a very important issue. Because the debit card is essentially giving cash out of your account, it's a cash transaction, there is no protection for you. It's just like if you were walking down the street and someone stole your wallet with $200 in it, then you wouldn't have $200 anymore. So there's no protection. If someone steals your PIN number or your debit card number, they are simply going to empty your bank account out of your cash. And the bank is not going to compensate you for that. First, you should not use them to purchase gas. Gas skimming machines that are put on credit card devices on the gas dispensing machines are highly vulnerable to fraud. A recent report this week showed that investigators are seeing more credit card skimmers. They can steal your banking information, credit or debit card numbers. Thieves plant all sorts of credit card skimmers, including businesses, gas stations, and in grocery stores. Recent reports showed UPS workers arrested in a $1.3 million credit card fraud and identity scheme involving skimming. Costco found 5 credit card skimmers in the Chicago area warehouses. Skimmers have been around for a long time, but thieves are getting smarter. In the old days, these machines were often very recognizable. In other words, they fit on top of a regular credit card machine, and they look exactly the same. You couldn't tell the difference. So they can be put on outside ATM terminals that your bank has. They can be put in Costco warehouses. The important thing to know, they are almost impossible to detect. So you need to be protected. And protection doesn't come by using your debit card, because there is no protection with a debit card. If you are going to use this for a gas station purchase, go inside the store where there is control over the ATM machine and pay for it with a clerk at the desk. You should not use your debit card for any internet purchases. Keep it completely away from the internet and any online transaction. I'll talk about something better to use in a moment, but keep it away from the internet. There's a high degree of fraud, and you don't want your number compromised, because remember, it's cash out of your account and you're not going to get it back. So be very careful with that. Likewise, you should not use your debit card for purchases for travel. Remember, it's like prepaying with cash. Once you pay that out, you have no recourse to get it back again. So if you buy a cruise and the cruise ship goes under, not sinking, I mean, but if they go bankrupt, then you're not going to get your money back. If you're traveling around the world and the airline company goes bankrupt, and this has happened a lot in the last few years, then you'll be stuck in some foreign country that you have to try and return yourself. So please don't use your debit card for any travel arrangements. Consider it a cash transaction. If you aren't comfortable with paying with cash, don't use your debit card. Senior citizens may be at higher risk of falling into debt due to a fixed income, decreased earning potential, and increased medical expenses. Additionally, some may be taken advantage of by predatory lending practices, or may even not fully understand the terms and fees associated with credit card use. It is important for seniors to manage their finances carefully and seek assistance if they are struggling with debt. This week, the National Council on Aging published a report. There is a retirement crisis for millions of older adults because of growing credit card debt. Thanks to soaring inflation and mounting costs of food, housing, utilities, and more, retirees now outspend their annual income by more than $4,000 and are compensating with that for credit card debt. With few options to bridge the gap, many older adults have little choice but to use their credit cards to finance this debt. In fact, Forbes recently reported that 41% of households headed by someone between the ages of 65 and 74 carry credit card debt, up from 27% in 1989. So it's important for you to remember that unlike a debit card where you're using your own money, with a credit card, you are using someone else's money. In other words, you're using credit. Because of that, you have to sign a contract with a company. In other words, you're going to be signing on the dotted line to agree to the terms of that contract. Now, most people who sign that form don't actually read the contract, but it usually is 30, 40 pages long. Out of all those pages in the contract, they all are in favor of the credit card company. You would not believe all the terms and conditions that we agree to. But there is one paragraph in all those contracts that works in your favor, and that is fraud protection. And that is the key issue between using a credit card and a debit card. Using a credit card, you are protected against fraud, and that is a big feature. And that's why for online secure transactions, a credit card is the preferred method. But I'm going to show you something that works just as well, and you won't have to get a credit card. Let me explain how this works. So if you do not have a credit card and you're worried about using your debit card as for an online transaction, let me talk about two alternatives for you. The first is a prepaid card. You can purchase these at any grocery store, usually gas station, or in Canada we have them as well. These are called prepaid cards, and they're made either by Visa or MasterCard. You can pick these up usually right at the till when you're checking out buying your groceries. So what are these cards? Well, these are prepaid cards that you can purchase. Now, the cost of these cards varies from $2 to usually they're under $10. And that's the administrative fee of setting the cards up. And then when you check out, the teller will ask you, how much do you want to put on the card? And there you can take your debit card and you do a transaction from your debit card and it loads the prepaid card. So there is no link between the prepaid card and your debit card. In fact, there's no identifier on these cards. These cards have no names or any identifier to your personal information. So you then take this home and you can use this now wherever credit cards are used. So remember, if you put $200 on the card, that's all you have. Now, when you go back next week to buy more groceries, if you have more shopping to do, you can just add further $200 or $300 onto the card, and there is no cost to that. So there is a cost initially to purchase the card, which is the administrative setup fee. Now, there's one other fee associated with these cards, is there is a monthly charge of usually 2% of the balance on the card. So this is not a lot of money if you're going to use the card on a short-term basis, which I would recommend. These cards are not meant for you to load a bunch of money on and leave them for 2 or 3 years, because that 2% each month is going to chew away at the balance. But if in October, if you're looking at buying some Christmas gifts and things like that, then you can simply purchase the card, load it up each time you go grocery shopping, and then do some online purchases with total protection. There's no link between any information on that card. In fact, the MasterCard or Visa, whoever sponsors the card, has no idea who you are. It's a cash transaction to load that at the till when you're checking out from the grocery store. The second card that is a great card that I've used for many years is the Amazon gift cards. So who doesn't shop at Amazon? The Amazon gift cards are a great way to do online shopping. Again, you purchase these in the grocery store usually, and you can take them to the till when you're checking out, and you'll just, you could pay for them with a credit card if you want, but you could use a debit card as well. And then you take your gift card home with you, and it acts just like a credit card, but it only works with Amazon. There's no fees to purchase it, and there are no monthly fees. So it's you can just take the card and apply it onto your Amazon account. This is a very secure way of doing online transactions on Amazon. And again, there's no identifying number that relates you to your debit card or any personal information. Just two options that you have if you're worried about using your debit card for online transactions. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, alternatives to a credit card. Hopefully this video will help you stay safe when doing your internet purchases. We'd sure appreciate the like and subscribe, and until we see you again, have a great day. All right, there might be some questions about that, and we'll certainly answer those in the Q&A. Hewie, are you ready to roll?
Yes, and if the more I talk, the more likely it is that I'm going to cough. So I will
Okay.
try to limit my speaking, but hang on one second here. You just have to find the right video. And full screen it.
Tech for Seniors present the website of the week with Hewie Poplock.
Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Website of the week number 17. I'm Hewie Poplock. Sqoosh, the ultimate image compression tool. If you snap photos with your phone, the photos are usually a very large file. A 12 megapixel camera will produce a 3.6 megabyte file. A 22 megapixel picture will produce a 6.6 megabyte file. Next time you need to compress an image, you don't have to open an image editor and do it yourself. Instead, try Sqoosh, which offers a simple web interface for reducing the size of images. This is Sqoosh. It is an app, so all of the processing is done on your computer, not in the cloud. Let's take a look. They have some samples here that you can use, but we're going to use a picture that I took. Here's how they explain what it is. Smaller images mean faster load times. Sqoosh can reduce the file size and maintain a high quality. For instance, they can reduce a 1.4 megabyte picture to 80K. It's simple. You open your image, inspect the differences, and then save instantly. Feeling adventurous? Adjust the settings for even smaller files. And secure? Worried about privacy? Images never leave your device, and Sqoosh does all the work locally. And that's it for their website. So let's take a look at a picture, and let's just slide it on here. This is a 6.22 megabyte picture. You're seeing the actual picture on the left, and on the right is whatever setting we have. So right now we have it to we can resize it. So let's resize it, and let's resize it down to 25% of what it is now. Because right now what it is approximately 4,000 by 3,000. So now we're going to get it down to 1,100 by 864. That's going to reduce it by 98%. And let's go ahead and click the arrow here. And it just downloaded the file. Now let's take a look at the difference between the file, the original, and the new file. But let's really look at the picture by opening it. And there it is. So that's the new picture, reduced. It's down to 1152 by 864. It's only 120K. And the original picture, let's open it, is 4,600 by 3,456. And it is 5.93 megabytes. So if we make these side by side, so you can see down here the size is 1152 by 864. Down here is 4608 by 3456. This one is almost 6 megabytes, and this one is 120K. When you look at them both side by side, there's not a whole bunch of difference. Nice and clear and usable. Very quick, very easy. So let's do that one more time so you get the idea. You just drop the image onto the interface and it opens up the editor. We'll do this and we open it. You'll notice that it's a huge picture. And so what we need to do is adjust it on the screen so the whole thing fits. There is the original picture. Let's move it up one more. There we go. That's the original picture. Now what we want to do is we want to edit it by resizing it. Let's go ahead and change this to 25%. Make it 1152 by 864. It's currently a little over 4,000 by 3,000. We're going to go ahead and compress it. by just clicking the button here to download it at the same time. It's now downloaded. And if we move this back and forth, it's slightly different, but not a whole bunch. So you can see the two pictures side by side. And when we open up the reduced picture, it's now 1152 by 864, nice and clear, good picture, and we're ready to use it. So there's a menu on each side. You saw this one. And let you choose the form of compression on the image along with additional options depending upon your choice. The split editing setup allows you to leave the left side as the original, and while you make the changes on the right side as you work, your changes will update, and you can drag the middle line to preview how the image will work. So as we move it across, we can see it's just a little bit out of focus compared to the nice crisp of the original, but it's pretty good. The site will also show you the new size of your image as you make edits, plus the percentage change in size from the original. It's a sleek and useful place to downsize images without extra software. So we can change this as we want. So let's say we want it 50% by 2300 by 1700. And we can take a look. It's a little clearer. And we can change things over here if we wanted to. But this is 6.26 megabytes. And over here, we're at 95% of the original, 317K, because we increased the size from 25 to 50. There's an install button. If you click the install button, you can install an app that runs within your browser. It's not going to install a program. It's going to install it with the browser, and you're able to do this directly from your browser. So it's just another choice, but I prefer just to do it using the online screen. Sqoosh. This has been Website of the Week number 17. I'm Hewie Poplock. Sqoosh, the ultimate image compression tool.
Good find, Hewie. That's a great, yeah,
Yep.
that's cool. That's a good find. Yeah, I bookmarked it in my my utilities folder. That's a good one. Yeah. Excellent. Thanks. That'll work well. Bob, are you ready to roll?
I am, if you're ready to receive what's coming to
I'm
you.
in the receiving mode.
The tax season is almost upon us. Remember that the IRS won't text you and some other tax scams to avoid. Unfortunately, every year, thousands of people fall victim to unlawful scammers. And while it's a year-round problem, we see a lot during the holidays, and then it peaks around tax season. Know all the warning signs and tricks used by hackers so you have a safe tax season. No one wants to deal with the Internal Revenue Service, but don't let that fear get you into trouble with scammers. Here are a few of the most common IRS tax scams. Tips to help you spot one and more details to help you stay safe. My thanks to Corey Gunther of Review Geek for his article and the inspiration for this video. Please read his article at the link listed. As always, if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and get involved. As stated, the IRS won't text you. One of the most common scams is an IRS text message. Text scams are an ongoing problem that comes in various forms. And while the IRS has an exhaustive list of scams and fraud to avoid, texts are a big one. The text message mentioning tax and the IRS is a scam. These are known as smishing or phishing scams, where criminals send a text and try to get you to click on a link or divulge important personal information. If you get an IRS text message, do not click any links, call any phone numbers, and never share personal or financial information. I recommend instantly blocking the number, although that rarely helps these days. I would also recommend deleting that text. Let's take a closer look at how the IRS will contact you. Almost all contact with taxpayers goes through the regular U.S. Postal Service mail delivery system. You'll get a letter, not a text or a call. It's worth noting that while most IRS contact is through the mail, there are some instances where they'll call you, come to your home, or visit a business. These situations are rare and typically happen when you have a largely overdue tax bill, or a delinquent tax return, or unfilled returns, or delinquent employment payments. Occasionally, the IRS will visit a business during an audit or investigation. However, it's important to note that in almost every scenario, you'll get a letter in the mail first. You should always be careful with calls, emails, and more. More people are hesitant when it comes to shady tax messages, which is why scammers are starting to get more sophisticated. They'll try phone calls and emails, or even create a fake website that looks just like the IRS government website to trick victims. Now that you know how the IRS will contact you, pay attention to other methods. If you're getting phone calls or emails, threatening or not, they're likely a scam. This is especially true if you've yet to receive anything in the mail. The IRS will issue countless letters first, before ever resorting to phone calls. And while it sounds harsh, use some common sense. Many scammers will claim to work for the IRS and say you owe back taxes, misfiled, or have a balance and owe a penalty fee. While this happens, you'll get notified by mail. If you do get a phone call from someone claiming to work for the IRS and wants you to pay in gift cards, that should be an obvious red flag. What is the government going to do with a gift card? Nothing. That's a scam. Stay away from IRS phone calls, emails, voicemails, reaching out on social media, or anyone asking for financial information over the phone. You should never give out your debit card, credit card, or banking details. The IRS won't ask for it on the phone either. Even if you're getting threatening calls or voicemails saying you'll go to jail, lose your driver's license, or lose your home, the IRS must follow the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, allowing you to appeal the case. You'll never randomly get a threatening phone call or text. You'll also want to be mindful of tax charity phone calls, where someone claims if you donate to a good cause, it'll be a write-off. These do exist, but random calls about them are a red flag. Last but not least, if you've already fallen victim to a scam, you'll likely be a target for recovery scams, where someone claims they can help. If you've been scammed, reach out to a physical business where you live and don't deal with a stranger over the phone. And here's how you should report IRS scams. In the unfortunate event that you get scammed, or even if you didn't fall for it, you should report all IRS scams to the proper channels. There are several ways to do this, depending on the situation. For one, report all tax scams to the IRS and file a complaint with the FTC. You can forward emails or send suspicious phone numbers to an IRS email, which is phishing@irs.gov. And while most text and call scams spoof numbers, it's still worth submitting them to the proper authorities. Then submit information to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration on its website, or by calling TGTA at 1-800-366-4484. This tutorial only touches on a few of the many different situations, scams, and fraud that takes place these days. Thankfully, the IRS puts together a dirty dozen report on tax scams each year, and you can learn more from those reports at the link listed. Use caution and common sense above all. If you use a tax preparer and he or she refuses to sign the tax return, grab your tax papers and find a reputable preparer. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Well, thanks, Bob. That hopefully people will be safe in tax time.
Yep, it's that time of year again, so
It is
look
indeed.
out.
It is indeed. Well, Ray, I know that you have a musical streak in you and you are great with music, but I have another side of me and it's my poetic side, right?
I can't
And-
wait to hear it.
Yeah. So, yeah, so here's my little foray into my writing a poem. And so I want to share this with everybody today. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. This past couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about ChatGPT, the new artificial intelligence. So I thought it would be fun today to write a poem about Tech for Senior. Yeah, let's write a poem. But I'm not very good at poems, so I'm going to get ChatGPT to write a poem about Tech for Senior. So let's have some fun with this. And let's see how it turns out. All right, I've asked ChatGPT to write a poem about the Tech for Senior organization that provides information to seniors. Ron and Hewie are co-founders. Bob is a security expert. Ray is our music director. Bill is the gadget guy. We meet once a week with a Zoom meeting on Monday morning. Let's see what ChatGPT writes. All right, here we are in ChatGPT. We're going to start a new chat. So I'm going to paste the information that I had in the Word document about our poem in ChatGPT, and I'm going to paste this now. And let's see what it comes up with. All right, here's our poem. Tech for Senior, a noble cause. Ron and Hewie, its founders without pause. Bob, the security expert, keeps us safe. Ray, our music director, sets the pace. Bill, the gadget guy, always on the go. For seniors, he's a lifesaver, don't you know? Once a week we meet on Zoom. Monday mornings are time in the virtual room. Sharing knowledge, helping each other out. Tech for Senior, we're here no doubt. A community of seniors, tech savvy and strong. Together we'll navigate the digital world all along. Wasn't that a lot of fun? It's amazing what ChatGPT can do. Have some fun with this and send some people some poems. It's amazing what it will do, and it is hilarious. You can ask for a funny poem, a sad poem, whatever type of poem you want. It'll make up a poem for you. Send someone a poem. Let's have some fun with this. Ron Brown with Tech for Senior.
Ron, all I can say is you're a poet and you don't even know it.
There you go. There you go. Listen, Ray, just before you start, I just want to say goodbye to our friends over on YouTube. Thank you for coming. If you want to pop over into our Zoom meeting, we have room for you and you can participate in the Q&A. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Don't forget our Thursday show. Ray, take it away and I'll stop the live feed.
All righty. Okay, David Crosby. a rock icon with 2 bands. Now, I want to say right off the bat that I did use ChatGPT to get the basically the basics of this, but I had to change quite a bit things with respect to the tenor and some personal comments. But definitely ChatGPT, when you use it in a fashion like this, I can still provide the information I want, but it takes me less time. David Crosby was a singer-songwriter and musician who rose to fame as a member of the iconic rock bands, the Byrds and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Born in Los Angeles in 1941, Crosby began his music career in the 1960s as a member of the Byrds, a band known for their influential blend of folk, rock, and country music. With the Byrds, Crosby helped to shape the sound of the era and contributed to some of the band's most enduring hits. For me personally, the early 1960s was when my musical taste moved to the folk music scene, and to this day, I still have the first 10 LPs recorded by Bob Dylan in my collection. The Byrds re-recorded several of Dylan's songs, including Mr. Tambourine Man, Chimes of Freedom, The Times They Are A-Changin', and my personal favorite, My Back Pages. Most folks remember Crosby for his time with his second band, but his influence with the Byrds in the early days of the new folk rock genre cannot be overstated. After leaving the Byrds in 1967, Crosby formed the band Crosby, Stills and Nash with Stephen Stills and Graham Nash. The band's debut album, Crosby, Stills and Nash, was released in 1969 and was a huge success, featuring hit songs such as Marrakesh Express and Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. The band's harmonies and political activism were a defining feature of the era and continue to be a huge influence on music today. In 1970, Neil Young joined the band, forming Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. The group released several more albums and hit songs, including Ohio and Southern Man. The band's live performances were renowned for their energy and musicianship, and they became one of the most popular and influential bands of the 1970s. Throughout his career, though, Crosby had also released several solo albums and collaborated with a variety of other musicians. He was an advocate for environmental and political causes. Now, despite his success, Crosby struggled with drug addiction and legal issues throughout his life. He was arrested several times for drug possession and spent time in prison. But he overcame those past battles, was sober for many years, and continued to make music and tour. Crosby died earlier this month, that was January 18th, at the age of 81. His family said he suffered from a long illness, while friends and colleagues said he remained active until the day of his death with plans for a tour and a new album. Now, today's clip is from the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival in California, with the Byrds singing Chimes of Freedom, with David Crosby wearing one of his signature hats. Chimes of Freedom.
Wow. Brought back a lot of memories, Ray.
I bet it did.
Wow.
Hope it did.
I like the hat. I like the hat, eh?
He always had a trademark hat on.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, hey, it's top of the hour. It's another week's gone by, another episode of Tech for Senior. We'll move into our question and answer now. For those of you, excuse me, for those of you who in about 20 minutes, we'll be ending the show, and at 1:30, our premiere video will start, and I've put the link in the show notes for that. I've also put the link if you want to donate. It is you can continue to donate all year long, but I'm not all year long, but I'm not going to mention it again. So if you want to, but I put the link for our fund again in there. I know that everybody works really hard on the show. So anyway, we want to continue on with this. And I think it's great. You know, everybody who contributed. Thank you for those of you who did contribute. It's really great. And I think we should have another good year. Hewie, are you got a question for me, or a question for everybody? Are you up for the challenge for next week?
I certainly am, but right now I'm having trouble talking. So I apologize. Just a couple of reminders. Number one, you keep saying we talk about on Thursdays, we talk about the latest news. It's the latest tech news. We don't talk about politics and all that kind of stuff.
That's true. Yes, thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I've got a lot of things going on, but this, excuse me, this Wednesday, the STUG meeting is this Wednesday. It's the first Wednesday of the month. And our speaker for that meeting is in this meeting. That's Marcia Berkey. And she's going to be talking about what's your story to tell. And it's everyone has multiple stories to share. Please come by and learn how to document yours. So that will be on Wednesday, and everybody is invited. So if you do have to register, if you're not registered already, and the same registration of previous meetings will hold over. But if you're not registered, get in touch with me at Hewie@Hewie.net, and I'll send you the link where you can register. I think that's all the news. The Windows SIG is not this Sunday, it's the following Sunday. I can't be there, so Drew King is going to fill in for me, and Mike will help. And then also the main meeting that same day, Bob G is going to do a presentation. So it's going to be a good meeting. Okay, turn it back
Thanks,
to you.
thanks, Hewie. Thanks, Hewie. Anne Marie, go ahead.
Hello there. I just have a question. How safe is an Amazon gift card? You don't need a PIN for that, do you, if it gets
No.
stolen?
No, you don't need it. Excuse me. Sorry. No, you don't need a PIN for it. At least I don't think you just put the code in on the back of the cards. There's a big, you peel it off or it comes off. We used to peel it. There used to be used to scratch it off, scratch them off at the back, but people were scratching the numbers off and then they couldn't get the numbers correct. So then they started the peel where you peeled it off and you just peel off the number and put the number in, and it's a 10 or 12 digit number and you just enter it in. No, it's just a way of getting cash on the gift on that card. And then now if you lose the card, of course, anyone can peel it off and take it, right? So and there is you want to make sure they're not tampered with when you buy them, but they usually aren't. They're sealed. They're totally sealed in an envelope that's there. I gave some examples and put them in. I made a lot of money on those cards. Everyone thought I was a great guy when they would come by and say, hey, can you get me this on Amazon when I lived in Mesa? But those gift cards, when you went to Fry's, like the Fry's grocery store, you got like, they had certain twice a month, you got like four times the amount of points for gas, right? So I bought hundreds of dollars of those gift cards. I didn't pay for gas ever when I lived there for 6 months because I got all those points for gas cards. So the grocery stores sometimes have promotions on, but I bought a lot of those gift cards.
One more little tidbit. Do you know that David Crosby is the sperm donor for Melissa Etheridge's son? Do you know that? He fathered a child for her. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Requested him. The point was she requested him to be the father of her child. Melissa Etheridge, if you know.
Wow.
Her. Yeah. All right, that's it.
Thanks, Anne Marie. Carl, go ahead.
Well, Anna Marie, I want to respond to. I'm not aware of being a sperm donor, and don't let me know about any either.
So sorry, but it's not a secret. It's all over the news and whatever.
But seriously, the question I had was for Hewie. Hewie, I belong to STUG, and I like your group. And when you send out a notification email about upcoming meetings and it says to register, click on, I think it's Hewie.something. When I do that, I ended up logging into Xfinity email, which I don't have Xfinity email. It brings up the Xfinity email and it says, put in your password and everything. So I assume you're on Xfinity email.
No, I'm not, and you probably hit the wrong link.
Well, it's a hypertext. It's a hypertext link. And
yeah, there's two of them on there. There's two of them on there. One of them opens up your Google Calendar or Calendar if you have one, and that's probably what you're clicking on. If you click on the Join Meeting button, or what's right under it is the link to the meeting, it'll take you to the meeting.
I'm not referring to the join, I'm referring to registering for the meeting.
Oh, register? No, it should take you right to a registration form.
I
Okay,
only used it once.
it's really weird
But-
because I don't have Xfinity and it'll bring
No,
up, it'll bring up an Xfinity login. Like I want to log, it wants me to log into Xfinity Mail.
No, it shouldn't. Have you ever registered for it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have in the past.
Yeah, if you
I don't
were registered
remember.
once, if you were registered, you're still registered. You don't have to worry
Okay.
about it.
Thank you.
All right. I wanted just to clarify a couple of things about the debit card. I thought I should answer. I gave that talk a lot when I was down in Arizona. One of the things that I get asked a lot about after the talk, people say they got their debit card from their bank and there is fraud protection on the debit card. Or in fact, they say that their debit card can be used as a credit card, or they say that their debit card actually, once they use up all the cash in their bank or in their account, it automatically goes into a loan and they can keep using the debit card. And all those issues are somewhat true, and it depends on your bank and how they structure the debit card. But for people who have, if it does go into any loan situation, if it extends into a PLC or something like that, your debit card extends into there. When you use like the $200 out of your account, now you have an account of zero. If it's linked to a PLC, personal line of credit, then of course, it will just keep going into your personal line of credit. But the point of that is in order for the bank to set that up, you need a credit bureau check. You need to have good credit. You actually have to be approved, and you have to sign a contract. So so those are possible depending on how your bank structures debit cards. But for the people I'm talking about is that they can't get a credit card. They don't want a credit card. They don't want anything credit. They simply want to use they want a cashless way of using their money that they have in their account. So instead of, when you go to the grocery store, instead of having to go to the bank and take out $200, you can just use your debit card, and that takes it right out of your account as a cash transaction. And that's basically how a debit card works. But the skimmers that we talked about in that are very common. Those articles that I showed were current news articles that just happened this week. This is a big problem. And if you and once the bad guys get your PIN number and your credit card, or in your PIN and your debit card number, then it's cash out of your account. They're going to drain it dry real fast. In fact, they've had people sitting in the gas stations in vans who actually, these skimmers are wirelessly connected to the someone sitting in there, and they will actually, as soon as you use your credit or your debit card and put your PIN number in, they will simultaneously access your bank account and drain it out within the same minute. So it happens very quickly. So be very careful with debit cards. Lots of problems with them. Any other questions? Did we baffle everybody today, Hewie? What do you think?
I don't know. No, I guess they
No
know
questions.
everything now. Yeah.
I have a quick one for Chris. Chris, I have an Android phone, and you were talking about those, your last great presentation about those like 3-second snippets of video. Is that available on the regular Google Photos, or do you have to have a subscription service?
That is a feature of your phone camera app. So you said you had what kind of phone?
I have a OnePlus phone. It's 2 years old.
So I don't know if the OnePlus, and very likely not. I see Bob Gustusha shaking his head that the camera is not capable of doing that motion feature.
What would I look under under what name if I do a search on my Google Photos for that? What do you call that feature?
Motion photos. Motion photos. It's called live photos on the iPhone, but they both are found under the search term of motion photos.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And Ron, I wrote a message in in the chat, but I'll go ahead since I'm talking. Have you heard of the Wise card? So it's part of the TransferWise service, which is a way to get money from one currency into another with little or no fees. But the Wise card is like a gift card, I think, as I've only just heard about it, that you can load it with money, but that money can be in different currencies, up to 4 or something like that. Have you heard of that?
Nope, haven't heard of that. Is that WYSE?
I think it's WISE, but I'm
All right, so
not.
it's not the same company that makes the camera equipment.
It's not
different.
wise,
It's Wise,
No,
WISE. Nope,
right?
don't know that
WIS.
one, Chris, sorry.
It's TransferWise is the company, and that's been around for a while. You know, Dottotech talked about it as a way to buy things in other currencies, but apparently
They used to be called TransferWise. They changed their name to just be Wise.
just Wise.
WISE.
Okay. And I just went to the website. It is just wise.com.
You can also use your PayPal card to make purchases in other currencies. They automatically convert. I don't know what their rate of exchange is. Wise might be a wiser way of doing it.
Wise,
You could use your
Wise
Ron.
will change from one currency to another and pay you at the mid-market price. They won't take the lowest or the highest. It'll go mid-market. And then usually if they transfer, I use them to transfer money from the US to Germany. They have a charge which is minimal. We're talking like $5 or $6, which is a lot less than banks usually charge.
So
Ron,
you use
Ron, I found it looking under owls,
Okay.
OWLS.
Okay. One of the things that Steve Dotto is always complaining about is with PayPal is the rate of exchange. And that's, I guess, one of the reasons why PayPal is so cheap is that of course you're getting caught on the rate of exchange. And Steve Dotto is always complaining about that and looking at alternatives for transferring money, particularly if you're in a receiving your money in US funds and it's going to a different currency. Then there is a lot of transfer that takes place, a lot of cost that takes place.
Thanks.
All right. Chris, you're heading out. When are you leaving? You're heading on your big trip soon.
Yeah, February 10.
Oh, a few days later. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll still be doing one more show. I have decided to do a follow-up because we had so much more I wanted to cover, and I had fun doing that one. So
yeah, it worked out good for Jim, the technology, except for that one audio glitch.
Except for the audio. So there's always something, isn't there?
But it worked out good. I like the color.
It
good.
It did. He used Ecamm for the first time on our live show.
Yeah.
And it worked very well. I thought things were real clear. You know, the blurriness went away.
Yep. It was good.
But now there's an audio issue.
Yeah.
It's whack-a-mole.
Yeah, yes, that's right. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming today. We'll see everyone. Don't forget this, Hewie, on Wednesday, you have
The STUG meeting.
the STUG meeting. When
The
Thursday,
Sarasota group. Yeah.
yeah, we have Thursday. We have, of course, our Tech for Senior live, and then we'll see you back here for a great meeting next week, which I anticipate will be a wonderful meeting. I have no idea what we're going to talk about because it's going to be Hewie. All right, but I know it'll be a great meeting. We'll see everyone next week. Have a great week, and don't forget.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Chris. Bye, Jim.
Well,
Yeah.
did Jim wanted to say something?
No, I just wanted to say hi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's
All right.
been down learning more about Ecamm.
Yeah, I'm doing a seminar down there.
All right. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.